Hello, and welcome to Climate Action 2021. My name is Jude Law, and I am an ambassador for Peace One Day. And I've been working with this organization for many, many years, over 10 years now. And I'm very pleased to introduce James Cox Chambers, who is going to have a conversation with me today on all sorts of issues. It's lovely to meet you.
Likewise.
Well, let's just dive in, and I would love to ask you why you decided to get into farming.
In the mid-90s, I had a stepdaughter that I took to a school, and it turned out to be a Rudolf Steiner school, and it was situated in Spring Valley, New York, and there was a health food store connected to that school. And I walked in and I saw the produce. I'd always been an organic eater, always. And the produce was off the hook. And I asked questions. Where did it come from? And they said, from this garden, which turned out to be the very first biodynamic garden in America. Aaron Fried Pfeiffer was running from the Nazis, and he came to Spring Valley, which is just west of Nyack, just north of Manhattan. And then they brought the maestro from Switzerland, from the Guteneum, a Martian-type man named Gunther Hauck, who became my mentor. We're completely opposite. He is Swiss-programmed, and I am chaotic. I follow Shiva, the god, right, of destruction and creation. And so, but he became my mentor, and I took his biodynamic training course. It was a year-long course, and I took it twice.
Could you tell me a little bit about life on a farm and how and the different ways it supports the environment?
I've had my farm for 22 years, but I took the training course in 94. So I've been at this for 27 years, and I feel like a rookie. Every single year is different. It's very much like an athletic season. Every condition is different. How do you come into the season? Are you prepared? Are you in shape? What is the climate bringing you? And in my training biodynamically, our goal is to make the farm a sustainable organism in and of itself. You have to learn how to improvise. You have to get really good people with whom to work or with whom to learn. And you really have to adjust to climate, soil. I had to learn about the word tilth, Tilth, which is the arability of the soil. Is your soil workable? Does it have good water permeability? I knew none of that stuff. And so over these 26 years, every year is a new year of learning about erosion, about pests, about crop rotation, because it really is, you want your organism, your farm to be a vibrant member of the community. It's not something clinical. You have this, it is a great honor and a privilege to work with Mother Earth, and she busts your chops, and then every now and then she rewards you with harvest, right?
Am I right in thinking that given the effects of climate change, the concerns for you are that those different elements that affect your farm every year and every season are also more erratic, is that right? Or are more unpredictable because of climate change or because of the effects of it?
They are definitely more erratic. Climate change is so noticeable. From when I went to school in the Hudson Valley in the 70s, we had long, heavy winters. We don't have those anymore. Just don't have them, period.
But tell me a little bit about, the hardest thing about farming. What would you say were the hardest elements of your life and that you have to confront, or that you have to deal with?
Number one is how hard the work is. It is gluteus maximus busting work, but that's a joyful work. Because we're organic farmers, we have to use much more person power than a conventional farmer. Hudson Valley for years was a dairy farming valley. And ever since before, but especially after World War II, conventional dairy farming involved dumping ammonium nitrate on the same field every year and growing corn in the same field every year. So you have to increase.
No fallow years. They would never have a fallow year. Just keep it going.
20, 25 years in a row. So you have to dump more ammonium nitrate on the land to get the crops, because they started milking cows instead of once a day. They started milking them twice a day and then thrice a day to just pump the milk out. And then with Roundup, you have no weeds to harvest. So it's Roundup ready corn with ammonium nitrate. You plant it, you sit back, and then you harvest it. There's no intermediate work. So we have to have a lot of workers constantly cultivating weeds, pulling them out. It is a beautiful sense of satisfaction, but Mother Nature can bust your chops hard.
And there are other reasons we know that not all farmers choose to be organic, right, or biodiverse. Can you maybe explain what are the barriers that farms face to decide to go organic?
Changing the system from conventional to organic involves more labor.
Right.
The whole 20th century was about industrialization. Make it faster, make it quicker, make it more efficient. The fallacy is that you're producing good food, because you're not. The micronutrients are lacking. The poisons that are going into the soil and the water, and consequently the air and the animals, cancer is off the hook, and it's directly related to the DDT that was used in the 60s and the 70s, and now the ammonium nitrate, and now the Roundup, and now the neonicotinoids. The fallacy is that this is an okay way of farming. What we have to do is we have to change the incentive program on the supply end, which is the farming end, and the demand end. And it is going to take a lot of effort, but people are smarter now. Younger people are smarter. Younger people are demanding it instead of accepting it.
Yeah.
Did that address your question at all?
Yeah, 100%. I wonder whether you could maybe expand a little bit when we talk about the young. And I wonder, it would be great for you to maybe offer advice of how you think maybe they could live a more sustainable life. I know a lot of young people will be watching this and tuning in on climate action. And would you give maybe 3 pieces of advice to a young person how to live a more sustainable life?
The simple answer is buy organic. The harder answer is become farmers. But learn how to farm your land. Learn how to, the young people are completely on point right now. They're saying, I can't speak for Europe so much, but I can for America. They're saying George Floyd has unleashed enough is enough. Like, the system is broken in terms of justice. And social justice requires environmental justice. Like, where do they put most of the sewage processing plants in large cities? Like in Manhattan, it's in Harlem on the west side, right? You see it on like 135th Street, that thing that sticks out in the river. The whole thing in Michigan with the lead in the water. Which communities are getting that? It's not Beverly Hills. It's not the Upper East Side. It's not Buckhead, where I come from. They have to start demanding clean food, because it really does go to a clean body. We are sullying our earth. I really want young people to understand that farming is hip. Farming is a cool, beautiful. It's artistic. It's creative. To me, it is one of the arts. And Greta Thunberg is a rock star for pressuring all of us. She's speaking the truth about what we need to do. We need to get away from fossil fuels fast.